Mona Lisa, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please take over?
Yes, ma'am. I quote, your ability to communicate with others will account for fully 85% of your success in your business and in your life. I unquote. Good morning to one and all. I am Mona Lisa Singh Deo from second year BBA B section. Shivananda Sharma Memorial RV College is one of the famous institutions that come under RV group of institution. SSMRV College has followed the trend of the current education system and correlated its effort to match the pace of its movement, and this webinar is also the result of this. Today is day 2 of the 2-day student online seminar organized by the Department of English, and hereby I welcome you all for this. Before passing this virtual mic to Varsha, I would like to inform you all that e-certificates will be provided to only those who will submit the feedback form for both days. Feedback form for today will be posted at the end of the session in the chat box. Kindly fill in the feedback form and avail your certificates. Now, I request Varsha from final year BCA to formally welcome the gathering.
I quote, your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more. You are a leader. I unquote. Good morning to one and all present here, and I am Varsha from final year BCA. It's indeed a matter of great honor for me to welcome all of you on behalf of entire SSM Mavi College to the Day 2 webinar on the topic Importance of Communication in Business. Shivananda Sarma Memorial RV College is one of the pioneer institutions run by RV Group of Institutions. It is represented as one of the top degree colleges in Karnataka for UG and PG programs. In January 2017, SSMRV has been accredited with A grade by NAC. The college follows a unique mode of education system where students are experienced to 360 plus 1 education for wholeness model. The holistic development of students is one of the major objectives of our college. Through this model, students of SSMRV are trained in academics, skill development, extracurricular activities, career development, ethics, and psychological well-being. And this webinar is one of its kind. I extend my warm welcome to Honorable Speaker Mrs. Prakriti Badrinath Ma'am, respected Principal Dr. S. Anil Kumar Sir, respected Coordinator Mrs. Sindhushri N.S. Ma'am, respected Head of the Department Mrs. Saujanya Diwan Ma'am, and all my dear friends. We would love to hear your views and knowledge on the importance of communication in business, ma'am. I welcome you once again.
Thank you, Varsha.
Mona Lisa?
Thank you, Varsha. Our dearest principal, Dr. S. Anil Kumar sir, is the main reason behind organizing this webinar. I request Varsha Balaji from second year BCom to introduce our principal sir to the gathering.
It is always easy to take decisions for others, but it is very difficult to take decisions for ourselves. A very pleasant morning to one and all. I'm Varsha Balaji of second year BCom. It is both an honor and a privilege to be able to introduce you to our master, Dr. S. Anil Kumar. Dr. S. Anil Kumar sir is the principal of SSMRV College. He has been a popular teacher among the faculty and students. He has an academic experience of over 35 years in the field of commerce and management, both at UG and PG level. Dr. S. Anil Kumar sir has more than 20 years of research experience. He is a recognized guide for many universities for MPhil and PhD programs. He has produced 5 PhDs and 31 MPhils from various universities. He has been doing various UGC-sponsored projects. Dr. S. Anil Kumar sir has published articles in leading national and international conferences. Dr. S. Anil Kumar sir has authored over 17 books. The reflection of his hard work and commitment has transformed into various awards, such as Dr. S. Anil Kumar sir has been awarded in the recognition of dedicated service as a teacher conferred by His Excellency Dr. Hansraj Bharadwaj, the then Governor of Karnataka, organized by Rotary Bangalore South and Karnataka Civil Defense Corporation. He has been awarded for achieving excellence in education from RSST. He has been received Dr. Abdul Kalam Award from Global Economic Progress Research Association, New Delhi, for individual achievement and distinguished service in education and research. He has been an NCC under officer and has won Best Candidate Award. Dr. S. Anil Kumar sir has also been awarded a DLIT by University of Panama, US. Coming back to his key focus areas within SSMRV, his academic innovations like the 360 degree for wholesomeness model with 5-dimensional approach, setting up of 27 activity centers are all stronghold strategies which aims to take up SSMRV to a greater heights. The direct impact of the same was a college getting an A grade by NAAC for the first time during its third accreditation cycle. It is with pride I mention that our college student got many ranks and gold medals in Bangalore University examination. SSMRV College has recently been ranked 4th among top 5 colleges in India for best value for money in India today MRDA survey 2018. The list is endless, but with due respect of time, I'd like to end it. Thank you for your constant support, sir.
Thank you, Varsha. Today's resource person, Ms. Prakruti Badrinath ma'am, was kind enough to take out her time out of her busy schedule to join us all today. I request Monica HS of second year BCom to introduce our speaker to the gathering.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, one and all present here. Myself, Monica Etches of second year BCom, is privileged to introduce today's resource person for the day 2 of the student webinar organized by the Department of English, SSMRV Degree College. Mistress Prakruti Badrinath, HOD, Department of Humanities, Noble Group of Institution, is a gold medalist in MA from Bangalore University. She has been a bright student throughout her school and college. At present, ma'am is pursuing PhD in Cultural Studies from Jain University. She is a part of textbook committee for BA Communicative English, Bangalore Central University. She has presented papers in various national and international conferences, and her articles have been published in various UGC care-listed journals. She has been presenting articles to Kannada newspapers and magazines. She is into dance and other cultures. She is a trained classical dancer and has performed throughout Karnataka and outside Karnataka too. With this, she is very well known for having taken the interview of most of the leading actors of Kannada film industry. She has been one of the most loved teachers among students for her inspiring nature. She is a teacher who gives her students something to take home to think about besides homework. We are really happy to have you with us today, ma'am, and we are all excited to listen from you. Thank you, ma'am, and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Monica. That was a very, very generous introduction. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sindhu, can I start?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. As Monica said, I'm Prakriti Padmavati Badrinath, but this is not much about me, but about the topic of today, that is importance of communication in business. I wish I could do this not virtually, but coming to your college, facing all of you, but that's the new world, right? That's what the title of the today event is, New World of Online Learning and Business Communication. Due to COVID, everything has changed. So does communication, so does business, so does business communication. So in today's talk, I'll be mainly focusing on what is communication, what do we need to understand by communication, and how do we relate it to business. Because in my 5 years of teaching experience, I know it's not much, but in my 5 years of teaching various level of students, PU, UG, even PG, MBA, MCOM students for that matter, one thing that I observe in students, especially of BCom, BBA background, is you think you know what communication is. If you know, great, nothing like that. But most of the times we don't understand communication in its wholeness, right? We think, okay, I was asked to do something. Let's say I was asked to do the vote of thanks. I've done it and my communication is done. But that's not what communication is. So what is communication? What are the different aspects of communication that we need to understand, and how one of each of these aspects affect our business communication is what the objective of my talk today will be. I hope I'll be able to deliver what I want to deliver. Let me share the screen. Is the screen visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Oh, okay. So as I told, it is on importance of communication in business. But firstly, what is communication? It's not one way, it's a two-way process. It's an exchange of information. I tell you something and you tell me something in return. So there has to be an exchange. Even your teachers and everyone who did the initial inaugural part was insisting on you filling the feedback form. Why is that important? Of course, to make sure that you attend, but also to make sure that whatever we have told is communicated to you. Telling and communication are two different things. I may tell hundreds of things in the talk, but what is the point if you are not able to understand? Or what is the point if I don't tell it properly in a way that you understand? Then the communication fails. So communication is not just me telling, but also you guys being able to understand, think, and react. It has to be all these three: understand, reflect on it, and then react to it. You can react in various manner, of course, which we will discuss a bit later. But basically, communication is exchange of information. What is business? Any activity or enterprise entered into for profit. We want to make money, and whatever activity we do in order to make profit or money, that is business. Now, what is business communication? When you exchange this information, when you use communication within an organization or with other organizations as well for commercial benefit. So it can be within the organization in terms of employees talking to the manager, or manager giving information to the employees, or it can be with others or other organizations as well. For example, you are getting into a deal with another company. Okay, that is also a kind of communication. What is the deal about? What is your expectation? What is their expectation? Everything needs to be clearly communicated. Both the parties should agree. Both the parties should be convinced. Only then the deal happens, right? So it can be within the organization or outside the organization, but mainly for the commercial benefit. Understanding what is communication, business communication, we first need to understand the whole process. As I told, we assume that the communication is easy. We think we are good communicators, but unfortunately most of us are not. We need to work on this. That's why we say communication skill. Now, what is the difference between skill and a subject? Can anyone tell me what is the difference between skill and a subject? As I told, it has to be two-way. If I go on talking, then it is not communication. Any student? Anyone?
Students, please interact.
Okay. Okay, let me give you some time. Probably you will be able to interact once you are comfortable with my presentation. Skill and what is skill? Something which you have to work on, something which you have to practice on a daily basis. Only then you will achieve it. Dance is a skill. Any art form is a skill. Writing is a skill. Why? I can tell you how to communicate, but unless you do it, unless you practice it, you don't achieve this skill, right? But subject hagala, once you read, once you memorize, it stays there for a while, and you need not work on it as such. You need not practice it every day. Most of the times, once you learn the concept, it will stay there with you for rest of your life. But dance or any other skill is not like that. I may tell you how to dance, but you have to dance and practice in order to learn the skill. Similarly, communication is also a skill. You have to work on it. You have to practice it. But to practice, you should first understand what communication is. So as you can see on the screen, we have various components in this process of communication. Firstly, we have sender. Who is the sender? Anybody who is sending the message. In this case, I am the sender because I am the one who is presenting, right? I become the sender. Then we have a message.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
When will the meeting end, ma'am?
When will the meeting end?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the time that is told to you?
I don't remember. Actually, I just joined.
You just joined and you're already worried about ending the meeting.
Sorry for the trouble, ma'am. You can continue. He's not
it's
our
okay.
student.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay. All students are same, no problem. Okay, what is message? Whatever we are trying to communicate. For example, in this communication, in today's talk, I am trying to communicate the importance of communication in business, and that becomes the message. What is the receiver? You. Who am I sending the message to? You become the receiver, right? But as I told, communication is a two-way process, so it has to be sent back. There has to be a feedback. I have to know whether you have understood the message or whether you have not understood the message. That needs to come back as a feedback. Now, feedback can be verbal. You can ask me questions or you can tell me, ma'am, I understood, I did not understand. Or it can also be your facial expression. That's why I said I wish it was not virtual, but a classroom experience, because most of the times teachers, we make out whether students have understood or not, or whether they are interested itself or not based on your facial expression. You smile, you nod, you yawn to tell that you're not interested enough. So everything becomes a feedback. Then there is a crucial part called noise. What is noise? Any galata that happens around. But in the case of communication, it need not be only the noise as in physical noise. It can be any problem in the communication. For example, a student just popped up, who is not from your college, but he interrupted the communication, and that becomes a noise. Or let's say there is some problem with the technology and the screen blurs. You're not able to see the picture, and then that becomes noise too. So all these things need to be kept in mind. All these things need to work in a proper manner for communication to happen. Now, why is this important in business? That is very important. As a sender, let's say you are a company, you're starting a business, you become the sender and you are marketing. Okay, that becomes your message. You are selling your product. Who is your receiver? The audience. But not all product targets everyone, right? For example, there is something, if you are marketing a car, then your target audience is some upper middle class or rich audience. But if at all you are marketing something like a toothpaste, then everybody is your receiver. So who is my receiver, Anadu? That becomes very important in my communication. In Ishtralu, there is also something called channel. Through which medium am I communicating? Right? Am I using a picture? Am I using my voice? Am I using a written document? What is that I'm using to send my message to you is channel. Now, for a customer, if at all your customer is community, then you don't advertise it in newspapers usually, right? For example, you don't see the advertisements of, let's say, something like Ferrari car in regular TV. You may see advertisements of other cars, but not something like Mercedes or Ferrari, because the people who buy such cars do not sit and watch TV. So for them, probably the channel should be something else. But if at all you are selling a product like toothpaste or a washing powder, then your receiver is usually a housewife who watches serials. So your advertisement will be mainly from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. because that is when most of the women sit and watch the soap operas, right? So you have to understand the receiver, who is my target audience, how do I reach them. That is when the business communication becomes effective. Let's say you're not bothered about business, you just want to get into a corporate setup and you want to work from 9 to 5, and that's the life you want to lead. But then too, you need to understand communication, because everything starting from your interview, everything is communication. When you go for an interview, you are the sender, HR is the receiver. You need to convince the receiver. You have to understand their mindset. Which medium do I use? Can you convince a HR with a picture? Not really. Then you choose a different channel. You create a resume. You convince. You sell yourself there. So that is also communication in that sense. Or let's say you are convincing your manager for an appraisal. That is also communication, right? So communication happens day in and day out, whether you are in business, whether you are at home, whether you are elsewhere. But the problem is, if it's a personal group, let's say I'm talking to my friend and that creates some misunderstanding, that's fine. I can clarify it later. But we don't have that luxury in business. You cannot, send a wrong message to the customer and then try to rectify it. That's why, especially today, when we have Twitter, when we have social media where boycott trends easily, one simple, message which is not acceptable by the receiver, if you put it there, then your branding is gone. Boycott this and the trend other mugitu kate, then the case is over. So you need to understand various things in business. You have to understand who the sender is, what the message is, who are my receivers, who am I talking to, what channel do I pick, how do I avoid the noises, how do I avoid interruptions in my communication, and how do I get my feedback. Even in business, feedback is very important, right? We have people giving us forms saying, raters. Even Ola, Uber, we have to submit the feedback form. In fact, yesterday I ordered something and the delivery boy came. He was like, "Ma'am, please give me a good feedback." So even in business, at every juncture, feedback becomes important. All this together is communication. I talking alone, we think, okay, communication is done. It cannot happen that way. Am I clear? Am I going too fast? Is this okay?
Yeah, ma'am.
It's going fine, ma'am.
Okay. Now coming to language skills. See, communication is everything put together: language, facial expression, body language, everything put together. But most important part of that communication skill is the language, because most of our communication is either oral or written. And when we say language, there are four things: LSRW: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Only when I'm able to do all the four in a particular language, then I am good in that language. Otherwise, I'm not. You would have come across people saying, I can speak in Telugu, but I can't read. Or I can speak, I can understand Tamil, but I cannot speak Tamil. Right? So then you don't know the language as such. You know a language, you have that skill only when you can do all the four: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. But before going into these in detail, can anyone tell me why, in spite of studying English for at least 10 to 15 years, most of us are not very confident in English? Our maid comes to our house, she learns, she picks up our language. If a maid goes to a Tamilian's house, she will pick up Tamil. If a maid goes to a, Telugu house, she will pick up Telugu. If you watch 10 Rajinikanth movies, you know Tamil. But in spite of studying, you're not just seeing movies in English, but in spite of studying English for such a long time, most of our students find English difficult. Can you tell me why? Can any one of you just think why?
Mom, this is Christina D.
Yes.
And in my view, I think it is strongly believed or subconsciously in the mind that English is a foreign language.
True.
While on the other hand, and Kannada is spoken very often throughout India. And it's strongly subconsciously believed that English is a foreign language and therefore it becomes a hindrance.
Correct. One is psychological aspect of it. English antakshana, we are scared, we are hesitant. That is there. But years. We see most of the times our students, when we ask them to write a letter, they find it difficult to write it in English. Or when we explain something in the class and we ask a question in their mother tongue in Kannada, they're easily able to respond. But if we ask them to tell the same thing in English, there is a step back. There is a hesitation, in spite of being in first year, second year UG. Why? Because how did you learn your mother tongue? Did you start speaking all of a sudden? Is that how we learned our mother tongues?
Through regular communications.
Yeah, regular communication, but one is practice, as I told. True, but how did that regular communication happen? Did we start as babies? Did we start speaking all of a sudden? No, right? We first listened. We were listening to our parents talking in mother tongue. I have a nephew at home. He's hardly 8 months old. He may not understand our language, but he listens to it. Right? He may not understand what something in Kannada means, but he keeps constantly listening to our mother tongue, and that's how we pick up words. And then we start speaking. We try to imitate what our parents said, appa, amma, whatever it is, we try to imitate. And then we read. Probably our mothers would have sat next to her reading some Kannada or any story book. And then at last we start writing in our mother tongue. So it goes in this order, LSRW. But unfortunately, this is not how we learnt our English, isn't it? How many of our house? I don't know if you are I don't know which background you guys come from, but how many of our homes have people talking in English all the time? We don't listen to English most of the times. How did we start speaking English? We directly started speaking or probably writing. Even before we could speak, we had a pencil, we had something, slate or something, and our parents would teach us ABCD. So we started with writing, or we started with speaking. Reading very minimal, listening to zero. I mean, even in our schools, our teachers would tell English stories in Kannada, right? Or unless we make it compulsory for you to speak in English, to listen to English, that doesn't happen on a regular basis. So the way we learned English itself is not scientific enough. It's not the way we learn our mother. That's why I said a maid picks up a language of the house she works in because she listens to it. Listening becomes the major part in learning any languages. So the method of learning English, as we all learned, at least now there is a different method in Montessori, which is appreciative, but the method in which we all learned was not right. So how do we work on it? We have to work more on the listening aspect. Probably all your teachers speak in English, so you listen to it, or you watch English movies. That's why people say watch English news channels or English movies. Why? Mainly because that is the only way you can listen to the language. Even when we speak, even when we Indians speak, it's not like, as someone pointed out, culturally the right English, right? For example, Naddu Naddu Sustaitu. I don't know how many of you can understand Kannada. I'm just giving an example. Naddu Naddu Sustaitu, we would have told walking, walking, I got tired. So we culturally translate as it is. Whatever is there in Kannada or in our mother tongue, we translate exactly the same, which is okay with other languages. Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, as one of your student pointed out, culturally we are still the same, right? Even in Kannada, we have two different words for you. I mean, Neenu, Neevu. We have tum, aap. We have this in all languages. But in English, it is you for everybody. There is no plurality. There is no respective word for you. Even for an younger person, we say you. Even for an elder person, we say you. So culturally, there is a lot of difference. True. So we need to work more on English rather than, as compared to other languages. But to work on English as well, we have to work on all these four skills: listening, speaking, reading, writing. Especially in business, you come across all the four skills. All the four becomes very important. But going to each skill in detail, I just want all of you to switch on your cameras if it is okay with you, because there is a small activity that I want to do. Can you guys switch on your camera? If at all you are comfortable. No one? Okay, good. I can see few faces. Others? Thank you, Vishwanath. Thank you, Suchita. Thank you, Hanumant, for switching on. Yeah. You will have to do what I say. Okay. For example, lift your right hand. Lift your right hand. Lift your left hand. Clap. Lift your right hand. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Fold all your fingers. Lift your index finger. touch your nose. Touch your nose. Touch your eyes. Touch your chin. Touch your chin. If you see, most of you are touching your cheek. I said touch your chin. This is chin. But most of you are touching your cheek because I am doing that. Right? I was saying touch your chin, but I was touching my cheek. So you also did the same thing. What happened to the listening? I am also giving you instruction, right? So there are two things that are happening. One, an instruction ಕೊಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ, you have to listen to it. One, I am also doing the action, so you are seeing me. Out of listening and seeing dominated. Listening didn't, right? That is why listening becomes very important. First of all, what is listening? When we say listening is important, what do we mean by listening? One second, there's some hiccup. I'm not able to start my presentation. Yeah, what is listening? Firstly, there is difference between hearing and listening, right? What is hearing? Let's say I am talking to you, but there is an ambulance passing by. You hear the noise. Your ears are working fine. So you can hear any noise that happens around you. Somebody rings the doorbell, your phone rings. You hear all of them. But what is listening? When you pay attention to something and then listen to it. Right? When a phone rings, you are not paying any attention. It rings and you automatically know it. There is no concentration required. But when it comes to listening, there should be a voluntary effort. That effort needs to be there. So in a lecture or in any presentation like this, you may hear my voice, but are you listening to what I tell? That's why I did the activity. Right? When I said, please touch your chin, but I was touching your cheek. Though I said chin, how many of you listened to my instruction? And this happens on a regular basis. Most of us, we think we are good listeners. Unfortunately, we are not. Even when we are talking to our friends, we'll be listening more to give a comment rather than to understand what is actually happening. Right? So listening becomes very important. How do I improve my listening skills? Mainly by concentrating, by taking time to let the other person finish what he's talking. Most of the misunderstandings, when we say miscommunication, most of the times it's because of our poor listening skills. We don't pay attention to what the other person is saying. So let the other person finish. Please give him enough time so that the person will finish. Do not prejudge. What do we mean by that? Let's say you have assumed, okay, this lecture is going to be boring. If you are attending the lecture with that mindset, no matter how fun I want to make it, you will not like the lecture. You don't like a person, you will not like the lecture. Or if you don't like a person, you will not like anything that they do. Right? So don't go with a judgment that this is going to be good or bad. Go with a neutral mind so that you can just listen and receive everything that comes in. When is listening complete? As I told, any communication is complete only when there is a feedback, only when you ask relevant question. Only then listening becomes complete. Now, there are different types of listening. We say appreciative listening. You listen to music, you appreciate. No, not all the time you want to learn the lyrics, write it in an exam, right? You just listen so that you can enjoy and appreciate the music. That's it. Then we have empathetic listening. What is empathy? To understand. You're talking to your friend, he's telling something, you listen so that you understand what he's saying. That's it. Then comes the comprehensive listening. What is to comprehend? To understand and also to think about it. Let's say your friend is talking about what happened the previous day when he was going back home. You just listen to it, you understand, but you will not think about it, right? You will not go home and think, why did he do that? That doesn't happen. But comprehensive listening is when you also not just understand, but think about it. Let's say any lecture. Okay, so I'm assuming all of you are listening to me so that after my presentation, you think, is what ma'am said is right? Is that why I'm not able to communicate better? when you reflect upon it, then it becomes comprehensive listening. Lastly, we have critical listening. Critical is when you are judging. Let's say we give you presentations and we will ask you to talk on a topic for 5 minutes. As teachers, we are critical. We are listening to every word, every sentence, and because we are evaluating, we are marking you. Now, how does this become important in business? Let's say, as I told, even in an interview, when you are convincing the opposite person, he is critically listening to you. He is not listening only because he has to. Each and every word you say, he is judging you for that, because there is only one vacancy and thousands of people who have applied for it. Why should he give it to you rather than giving it to someone else, right? So each and every word you say, he is critically analyzing it and judging it. Or let's say you have got the job, you are in a meeting. When one person, when you are discussing something in a meeting, you have to be very careful. You have to listen to it, understand, and then give your feedback, then give your opinion. You cannot be random. You cannot just cut the other person in the meeting and then talk. That is not considered as a corporate etiquette. You are insulting the other person. It need not be only manager, anybody. He might be your junior also, but you cannot cut a person in a meeting and just start talking. You have to listen to him. You have to let him finish, understand, and then give your opinion, right? You need to listen to your customers. You need to listen to their feedback, work on the feedback, only then the business will enhance. So listening is a very important skill. Coming to speaking, there are so many things in speaking. One is the pitch, one is the tone, one is the stress. I will not go in detail because I'm running out of time. But what is tone? Most of the times I'll focus on this, because most of the times what we tell Anudikanta, how we tell it becomes important, right? Misunderstanding happens because not because what I told, but mainly because how I told, my tone. Even you would have told, I didn't like teachers, the way teacher addressed me. I didn't like the way he spoke to me. So the way, the tone, and you are giving an interview, you are addressing the HR, and if your tone is as if you're the authority, then he will definitely not like it, right? Or the speed in which you speak. Even I kept asking, am I going too fast? Because I will go in one stretch, I will go like Chennai Express, and you are not able to follow what I am talking, and that communication fails. My vocabulary, sometimes the pronunciation will be different. My fluency, if I am talking continuously, you will be interested. If I fill it with fillers like oh, then you lose interest, isn't it? My grammar, everything matters in speaking. So in business, again, when you are in a meeting, when you are giving a presentation, when you are convincing somebody to do something, the way you talk, your tone, your speed, your confidence, everything matters in business. Reading skills. This is something which we neglect very, very often. We focus on speaking and writing, but listening and reading, which are something which is neglected all the time. What is to read? Not just reading aloud the words that is on the page, right? For example, you can see the slide and say skimming, scanning, extensive, intensive. That's not reading. Reading is when you understand. That's why you have a component in exam, reading comprehension, right? They give you a passage followed by questions, because you are supposed to comprehend. You are supposed to understand what you read. Again, there are different types of reading. One is scanning. Let's say you go to a hotel, you pick up a menu, you just scan. You're not interested in by hearting all the things. You just want to know what is there in the hotel and you order it. So that is simple scanning. Then is skimming. Skimming is where you read, okay, let's say newspaper, you scan the newspaper, you will just read the headlines. Some article you feel it interesting and then you read it. That is skimming, okay? Then extensive reading. When you read a storybook, you're just reading to basically understand. There is nothing, you're not analytically thinking of it. You're just reading it for time pass or to understand. Intensive is when you read, understand, analyze. For example, when you read for your exams, you're not reading for time pass. You want to score, you want to replicate the same in the next day's exam. That's why you're reading, giving all your focus and attention, right? That is intensive reading. Now again, why is this important in business? Let's say you're signing a document and you don't read certain things properly, then you end up in trouble. Forget document. How many of us have given allow permission to all the apps in our mobile, and then we are cribbing about Facebook using our data? But we are the ones who gave permission to Facebook use our information, isn't it? When we created an account, we said, I agree to the terms. But how many of us even read those instructions, right? Or when you buy buy something and you want to claim warranty or something, they would have written in the manual very clearly that certain things are not applicable. But we are not bothered. We don't want to read any of those. So in everyday business, reading, especially the legal documents, the documents which will put you into trouble, reading them intensively, in depth, becomes very important. Lastly, the writing skill. All of us write. We write in our exams, we write apology letter, we write leave letter. But today when we say writing, it's not just writing on paper, email writing. Business communication has become more virtual, right? You send an email for everything. So how to write an email itself is a different topic altogether. You can't write an email like you write a letter, right? That's a different topic altogether. But again, in writing, we have so many kinds. One is descriptive writing. You see Taj Mahal and you describe. That is descriptive. Or narrative writing. You go to a movie, you want to tell your friend the story of the movie, you narrate it. You tell what happened. That is again different. Expository writing, when you explain something, all your answers are expository writings because you are explaining the answer to that particular question. Then we have argumentative writing. When you argue for something, like for example, your essays. When we give a topic and we want you to write an essay, you pick a side and you say, this is what I want to talk about. You argue for it, you give data, you give examples, you give quotation from famous personalities, you quote some newspaper articles, and you argue what I'm saying is right. But in business, what is more important is the persuasive writing. That is what I want to focus more on. What is persuasion? When you convince somebody to do something. And business is all about this, isn't it? You are convincing a customer to buy, you are convincing your manager to hire you, you are convincing investors to invest money for your business. So throughout business, all we are doing is to persuade, to convince somebody to do something. So persuasive writing is very important. Crucially, there are three things in we consider for persuasion. We call it logic, emotion, sometimes both. Okay, pathos. What is logic? When you are talking, you would have seen advertisements like that of let's say toothpaste, where they say this contains sodium, that's why you have to buy this, or this contains fluoride, something like that, salt, whatever. They are using logic to appeal to you. That is logical persuasion. Sometimes we also use our emotions. You would have seen ad like India ki mitti se bani hai. So you are appealing to the patriotic feeling of the audience. Why should you buy this? I think this is an ad by Akshay Kumar. I don't remember the brand name, but there is a tiles ad, and where he says India ke mitti se bani. You need not buy it because it is good. There is no logic. There is only emotion involved that it is India's, made in India, not made in China or something. So you have to buy this. So you can convince people in various manner. But which one to use? Should I use logic? Should I use emotion? Should I use both at times? Is a choice that you have to make based on the context. When you give your CV for your jobs, that is also persuasive writing. But there you don't use your emotions, you use logic. I am good at these things, so you should hire me for these reasons, right? Or when you convince your manager to buy something, that is logical persuasion. But in advertisement, in marketing, you can use both logic or sometimes even emotions for that matter. So persuasive writing becomes very important in business communication. And then we have creative writing. I'm sure all of you know what is creative writing. When you come up with slogans, super slogans in business, right? Sometimes we may not remember the brand name, but we remember the slogan. Why should boys have all the fun? Daag acha hai. All these things are 3-4 words. That's it. It's hardly a sentence. But that creates a major impact on the audience, mainly because of the creativity that involves. So when it comes to business, again, creative writing, when you design your logo, when you keep the name of your company, or when you come up with a tagline, you are mainly using your creative writing part of it. So all the 4 skills, listening, speaking, reading, and writing, comes very important in business communication. Then we have different types of communication. Sindhu, how much time do I have? I want to do one more small activity. Do I have time, or shall I continue?
Yes, ma'am, you can. You
I
have
can.
time. You can. Please.
Okay. Okay. Again.
Excuse me. Yeah. Now the slides are moving. Actually, the slide was stuck. So
Oh.
I think the PowerPoint wasn't working. I mean, slideshow isn't working, I guess. So just a normal
the
day.
audio is also cut.
Is it?
I'm not able to hear
audio
you
is
saying.
fine. No. Audio is fine. The presentation part of it, the PPT wasn't moving. Now it is moving actually. Some 2 or 3 slides we were explaining.
Sindhu, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay. So slides were not working.
Yeah.
I hope listening was, helpful there. Again, if you see, why do we use slides? Why do we use slides? Though you are listening, we are using 2 channels here, right? One is the audio channel, other one is the video channel. So most of the times in communication, we combine more than 1 channel for effective presentation. But unfortunately here, one of the channel didn't work, but I hope you listened to it and you could do. So before going on, I want to do another small activity. I will read a list of items, and I want you to repeat it. I mean, when I ask you how much you could remember, I want you to tell me how much. If you have a sheet of paper and pen, you can write it down also. But if you don't have, at least you tell me how much of the items that I read you were able to understand. Students, can we do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Okay. I am reading now. Pen, book, laptop, mobile phone, online class, webinar, communication, internals, examination, result, placement, interview, training, recruitment, salary. I'll read again. Pen, book, laptop, mobile phone, online classes, webinar, communication, examination, internals, placement, result, training, interview, recruitment, salary. Now, if you have a sheet of paper or pen, or even in your mobiles for that matter, how much of these could you remember? If you can just type it down or write it down somewhere. Or if someone of you can unmute yourself and tell me.
Ma'am, pen?
Yes, Monica. Yeah.
Pen, book, laptop, mobile, online classes, webinar, communication, internals, exam, result, placement, interview, training, and recruitment.
Oh my God, you almost named everything. That's great. Okay. Now, the same thing. I mean, you are a very good listener then, Monica. If the same thing, if I show it to you on screen, give you 2 minutes time, and then ask you to write it. Is the screen visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now, if I give you 2 minutes time to read all this, and then I ask you to write it down, I'm sure you will remember more when you see it rather than just listening to it. Right? So there are 2 types of communication which we use now. First, when I read, I was mainly using only oral communication. But when I put it on a slide, I'm using written communication. Both are verbal, but oral and written. Why was there a difference between the 2? See, in business, we don't go much with oral communication. We go with written, because in oral, nothing is documented. Right? I may tell I will give you 5,000 today. Tomorrow I can come and tell I didn't tell 5,000, I said 6,000, or I said 4,000. There is no documentation. There is no official seal on it when we do things orally. So in business, we don't go much by oral communication. Written is more powerful in that manner. So again, in written, as I told, in business communication, we mainly use persuasive communication, creative communication, or any kinds of legal documents that we do, or even a mail that you send. All these are written communication. Writing is preferred mainly because it can be documented. Let's say next something happens and you go to court, and you have a document to refer to, right? You can show it as a proof. Or we also use written because it is like a record. Why do you keep notes? No matter how much we teach, students will end up asking for notes. Why? When I explain something in the class, you want to refer it to before your exam, can you go back to my class and refer to it again? Can you recollect whatever I said just the day before exam? Not really. But if it is in a written document, you can refer to your notes. You can go back to that page and read again the day before exam, right? Similarly, even in business, that acts as a record where you can go back and refer to what was told. In most of the corporate setups, nobody will sit and explain you what is your job profile, what are you supposed to do, how to apply for leave, how to go for appraisal. Nobody will sit and explain. Everything will be given like a manual. Like we have manual to how to switch on the mobile or how to turn on the AC. We have manuals, right? Similarly, most of the corporates will only send you a mail with a PDF. In PDF, everything would be explained. What is your job? What should you do? Whom should you report? So you have to read. Everything is in written format. You have to read and then communicate, respond to it. We have non-verbal communication where we use our facial expressions, body language, even hand gestures. For that example, that activity which we did, touch your chin, but I was touching my cheek. Their non-verbal became more important rather than the verbal communication. So most of the times in business we use pictures, right? No smoking, it can be that, wear mask, maintain social distances. Not everything is written, sometimes it is told non-verbally also. Body language becomes very important because let's say when you are attending an interview, the way you sit, the way you talk, again, your facial expression, if you are not even looking at the interviewer, if you're not even looking at the HR, that shows that you are not confident enough, right? You have to look into their eye and talk confidently. That is very important. Or the body language, you have to sit formally. You cannot sit like this, you cannot sit like this. Then it is considered like you're not very serious enough about the job. So all these are minor things. We will not pay much attention to it in our everyday conversations, but this becomes very important in your business communication. You are meeting a client and the client has come from US. You are meeting a client. Your body language, your etiquette needs to be good. In fact, you are trained. Most of the corporate companies train employees before meeting the client because the body language, the culture, even if you shake hand, how you shake hand, should it be very hard? How long should you shake your hand? All these things are trained before the client's visit. Why? Because these things matters a lot in business communication. Then we have interpersonal communication. This is basically between two people. So your interview process is interpersonal. You are convincing the person to hire you. So what happens in interpersonal communication is there is a kind of rapport that builds, right? You are able to convince one person, you are able to talk to them. So this happens mainly in terms of interview or in terms of let's say any business deal that you do. You talk to a person to get into a deal, then you are using your interpersonal communication. There again, of course, body language and facial expressions, everything becomes very important. Then we have mass communication, where you are addressing thousands of people. All your marketing, all your advertisements is mass communication. Right now, you don't have time to convince each of your customer to buy something. You are convincing them in group. So you have to keep everything in mind. And please remember here, the receiver, the audience is heterogeneous. What do we mean by that? It's a mixture. Mixture in terms of culture, mixture in terms of social background, mixture in terms of economical background. So you have to come up with something which will cater to the majority of it, right? So you need to understand the mass and then communicate. And when you're doing mass communication, again, your channel changes. You cannot, usually we will use mass media again or social media nowadays, because you cannot convince 1,000 in small scale. It has to go large scale. You need mass medium for that. And we have something called organizational communication, which is very important if you're working in a corporate setup. But that is the communication that happens within the organization. For example, there is upward communication. You are talking to your managers, employees to the higher level. Or there can be downward communication when the manager is addressing you. The information is dropping down. Or it can be lateral. Let's say you are a team lead and you are talking to another team lead. Both of you are of the same authority, but you talk. Now, when you talk to another team lead, it is different. When you talk to your manager, it is different because the receivers are different. Probably when you're talking to your manager, you're more formal. You're more, going by the book. But if at all you're talking to an employee, to a colleague, then you need not be very formal in that sense, right? And there is also external communication. This happens when you're talking to someone outside the department. You are working in project A and you have to communicate with someone in project B, completely outside. Or you are working in a company and you are dealing with somebody of the other company. Then also it becomes external communication. So let's say you're talking, almost all the business communication happens in writing only. When I say writing, either through mail or something, even, not even WhatsApp. Nowadays, messages are also not considered. For everything, they say drop a mail, right? But sometimes, at least when you're talking to your laterals or your colleague, you may do it orally also. Okay, I will be on leave tomorrow. That might happen. But if at all is an upward communication, it has to go by the procedure. Right? So these nuances, these are all very small things, but it plays a very major role when it comes to business communication. Lastly, we also talked about noise, that is the barriers of communication. What are the things that can create problem? Okay, I have understood what is sender, I have understood the message, I have understood receiver, I have chosen a proper channel, I have worked on my body language, but in spite of all this, communication error can happen. Right? Why? Because of these barriers. Firstly, the physical barrier. Physical barrier can be as simple as, let's say, you cannot, when we meet a client or when we meet a customer or when you meet somebody you are getting into contract with, we usually call them for coffee day. We don't call them for theaters, right? Because the place matters, the physical place matters, or the timing also for that matter. Meetings are usually held early, usually in the first 2 hours of the office times or the last 2 hours. You don't usually meet someone post lunch because that's not the time the mind is very active. These are small things, again, the time, the place that you pick up, but that matters a lot. If you are in a crowded place where you cannot talk to the other person clearly, where there is so much of disturbance, then the communication will hinder. There is linguistic barrier. Let's assume there is a person in this group who didn't understand any of the English that I spoke. Then the whole communication is a failure, right? As I told, it's a two-way. There may be 100 of you, 99 of you have understood. Even if one person has not understood, then there is a barrier because of my language. Then we have cultural barrier. As I told, cultures are different. What we do here is completely different than what is done in Japan. I have a cousin who works in SAP Lab and he should visit Japan, Germany every now and then. So first day when he had to go to Japan or Germany, he was given a 15 days training on how to sit, how to eat, because for them, everything is a communication. You cannot show disrespect to the boss there, to the client there. He was given a 15 days training on how to dress up, how to sit, how to behave, when to leave the conversation, when to go out of the room. Everything was given in training because their culture is different. If you remember, I told in the interview, you should look into their eye and talk. But if you do the same thing in the Middle Eastern countries, especially to a woman, if you look into their eyes, it might be considered inappropriate. That is cultural barrier. Then the psychological barrier, as we discussed before, if you are under the impression that my lecture is going to be boring, then no matter what I do, psychologically, you have already shut my communication. That is something which cannot happen. Or let's say you're not in a mood. How many times have we asked our teachers, ma'am, abhi, lunch hour just got over, lunch hour, we are not in a mood to listen. Or the last period of the day. Usually the last period are the toughest because you will be in a hurry to leave the room. The psychology of the class is different. First hour it is different, last hour is different, right? Then we will change our communication. Usually if I'm taking last hour, I will make it activity based, because I know if I give the lectures, none of you will listen, right? So based on the psychology, I will have to change my communication. So this is something we need to keep in mind. The other one is technological barrier. It just happened. I thought the slides were moving, but it was not. Then it can become a barrier, or the picture is not clear, my voice is not reaching out to you. Anything to do with technology, especially now, because all business is going virtual, everything is becoming online. Technological barrier can also be our illiteracy in technology, right? Let's say I don't even know how to use Google Meet. Then what do I do with the lecture? Or if I don't know how to do a PPT, I don't know how to fix a problem when I'm teaching online, my illiteracy itself, illiteracy in terms of technology itself can become a barrier in that case. Then is the socio-religious barrier. There are certain things which you do not talk in a particular religious community, right? Or in a particular society. How does this affect business? I will give you 2 examples, okay? I'm sure all of you have heard this brand car company called Chevrolet, right? They had introduced a car called Nova, a particular model, which became a huge success in America. But when they introduced the same in Spain, it did not pick up. The sales did not pick up. They didn't change anything. It was the same model. That which became successful in London, in America, in other parts of the world, did not pick up when it came to Spain. Okay? Can anyone guess why? What could be the reason? Anyone? Nova. No. Sorry. Somebody said something. I'm sorry, I cut them off. Nova in Spanish means no go. That is, it doesn't go anywhere. I mean, it's a negative word in Spanish language. And because of that, they found out that the sales were dropping in Spain. That is cultural barrier or the linguistic barrier. Nova in English is something else probably, but they didn't know in Spain it means completely different. That can be, that affects your business communication. Or if I have to take a very recent example, I'm sure you're all social media generation, so you remember this. There was a trend in Twitter, every social media platform, to boycott Tanishq ad.
Yeah.
You know, recently, the ad was about a Hindu girl getting married into a Muslim family, and there is her baby shower, God Barai Rasam, that's happening. With all celebration, jewels and stuff, and that was the Tanishq ad. But there was a cry to ban the ad because they thought it is talking about love jihad. Now, how true it is, it's a different question. How logical or how stupid it is a different question. But see how socio-religious context, the same ad, if it had come for let's say around 10-15 years or 40 years ago, it wouldn't have been an issue. Or even when Fair and Lovely had to change its name to Glow and Lovely. You know this, right? Fair and Lovely has changed its name.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah. Why? Why did they change it? The product has been there in markets since so many years. But why did they change it now?
I guess there was some issue with the complexion, like beauty is not just being fair or something.
Yeah, it is there since a very long time. Since we have, colonial, post-colonial, all that, racism has been questioned. So people have problem with all these fairness creams since many years. But they did now, very recently. After that, I don't know, again, how many of you know, there was an incident in America where a black man was killed by the police officer. And there was this trend called Black Lives Matter.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it was after that these companies made these changes. So the socio-religious context, the social context, the cultural context, everything becomes important in business communication. What is not a problem today can become a problem 5 years or 10 years later, because the society is changing, because the culture is changing. Even if you see now, most of the ads is trying to show women as more, not just housewife, but bit more than that, because there is feminism wave everywhere. right? So the context in which the communication is going also becomes important. Because of COVID, now everybody is saying it is antibacterial, antiviral, immunity booster, right? Context, the communication change. The same product, there is nothing new in it. The product is not new. Product is still the same, but the communication has changed based on the context because of COVID. I don't know how many of you remember this Maggie getting banned. There was a time when Maggie was banned because there was a accusation that it has higher lead content or something, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Then the other noodle companies like Sunfeast, all of them, they changed their advertisement. Product is still the same, but the advertisement was changed. Hum safe hai. You know, their Maggie is not safe, we are safe. That was the kind of communication. Again, business is still the same. It is still the noodle company. They have not introduced anything new, but the communication has changed based on the context, based on the social situation or the cultural situation that we live in. So all these things need to be kept in mind when you are getting into business communication, right? That is very important. These things can be barriers, but you can work on it as well. It's not that it is not possible to work on these barriers, but you can work only when you know it is a problem. If you don't know the problem, how will we solve it? So it is important to understand where all things can go wrong so that you work on it beforehand. Sum up, having spoken so much about communication, process, skills, everything, what is the basic functions of business communication, right? It helps in recruitment. You might be the one who's attending the interview, or you might be the one who's conducting the interview. Both ways, communication becomes very helpful. It helps in recruitment. It helps in coordination within the team. Corporate companies always talk about team building activities. Why? Because coordination among team members is very, very important. And that coordination can be built only through communication, right? If there is no clarity, then there will be confusion. So clarity comes with communication. Or in decision making process, when you have to make some decision, you call for a meeting, everybody sits, brainstorm, there you have your communication skills coming into picture. Or let's say you are even doing some research, right? We do market research before launching a new product. Have you heard of this market research?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, when they try to understand the market, right? What is their need, or are they happy with the current product? Whatever the kind of research is, when you get those research forms, you have to sit and read those forms and then come at a decision. Or you read case studies. Again, there you are reading, you are researching. There you have to do an intensive reading for that matter. So decision making, again, communication becomes very important. Morale building. Most of the times, if you see, all the counseling happens in interpersonal communication. You cannot build a team, you cannot call people in hundreds and then try to motivate them. It is usually on a one-on-one basis, because if the team is not motivated, no matter how good the leader is, the work doesn't get happen. Marketing and branding, most important for any business that happens. Every marketing is a communication. Every branding that we do, image building that we do, everything is communication. If you know, there are people who work on these branding, and it's not just for business. Now though, even stars have people working on their image. How do journalists know there is somebody coming out of airport? To click airport look, gym look, airport look, all this are becoming a trend today, because that is also branding. And how does that happen? Through communication. So everywhere in business, communication becomes very important. But what you need to understand is, communication skills can both make you and break you. You can win a business through your communication. At the same time, you can lose a business if your communication doesn't go right. So please understand the importance of it. Only because you have understood the importance, the thing does not end here. As I told, it's a skill. We need to work on this every single day. It is possible. Only thing is, you need to work on it. And when we say speak in English, we are not asking you to do everything in English, not 24 hours. But at least when you are in campus, when you are talking to your teachers, when you're talking to your colleagues, if you can talk in English there. Even, and in business communication, we are not asking you to be Shakespeare's. We don't want you to write beautiful poem. If you know how to write your resume, if you know how to write your emails, if you know how to apply for something, that is more than enough. That is all the communication we are asking in business. We don't want you to write a poem for leave application, right? Basic email, 3 to 4 sentences. If you are able to communicate it with clarity, with language, correct language, that is all the communication we are asking in business, nothing more than that. With this, I end my presentation. I hope you found it helpful. Thank you, Sindhu.
Thank you, Prakruti ma'am, for this stimulating speech and enlightening us with the meticulous details of business communication supported by awesome example. That was one much interesting session where we got to interact. Before moving forward, I would like to inform you all once again that e-certificates will be provided to only those who will submit the feedback form for both days. Feedback form for today will be posted at the end of the session in the chat box. Kindly fill in the feedback form and avail your certificates. Now, it's time for question and answer. I request my friends to ask their questions, and you can either type it in chat box or you can unmute and ask your question.
Prakriti ma'am, thank you so much. It was very thoughtful.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the management. Thank you for the principal, head, Department of English, Saujanya ma'am, Sindhu ma'am. Thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity. Thank you students for patiently listening to me. I mean, I saw the number of participants before I started, and if I see now, it is still the same. That shows you were with me. None of you left in the middle of my presentation.
That's because it was very interesting and students loved it.
Thank you. Any questions I would love to answer. If there are no questions, also it's fine. You can, text, ask me later also if you are.
Sindhu ma'am is not there.
I'm here. Students, you can ask your questions. We'll give you 1 or 2 minutes. Kindly ask the question.
Don't be hesitant. Feel free to ask from ma'am.
Your questions are my feedback. So my communication will be complete only if I get questions from you, or any feedback that you want to give. If you felt that I could have spoken more on something, or if you felt I was too fast, too slow, any feedback you can give it to me, no problem. It need not be a question.
Ma'am, Varsha here.
Yes, Varsha.
Sometimes we feel unsure of our grammar, because of which we stop speaking English or we go backwards speaking English. So,
Yes. Okay, Varsha, I will answer your question with another question. Okay, in my this 1 hour of presentation, I also have done few grammatical errors. But were you able to make it out?
No, ma'am.
Did that hinder communication?
No.
That's why at the end of the presentation I said we don't want you to be Shakespeare. It's okay if your grammar goes here and there. Okay, that's not, of course, it shouldn't be a blunder, not a major mistake. But if it goes here and there, it's completely fine, as long as you are able to tell the message clearly. In business communication, clarity irbecaste, that is all we ask for. And as I told you, it comes with practice. Now though we have apps like Grammarly and all, it is available in phone also. So when you send a mail, if you have an app, it will only correct automatically the grammar part of it. Right? So you need not worry. See what happens, too much worry on grammar, as you told, will make you hesitant to speak. Don't worry on the grammar part. I mean, with all due respect, we teach grammar in class. I'm not denying it. It is important. But you need not worry too much on it, because even if grammar goes here and there, communication will still happen. Right? You are still able to understand what is told. And that's more than enough in business communication.
Yes, ma'am.
Only in writing it becomes very important. And for writing, as I told, you can use apps like Grammarly and all, and with practice it will come. Not a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you, Varsha. Yes?
Ma'am, there is one question from Christina, that how can we promote the learning of English language to a kid, say to a 6 or 7 year old?
or trust me, it is easy to teach kids English, or not just English, any language. It is easy to teach kids because they don't know anything. So for us, what happens, we need to unlearn. ತಪ್ಪು ಕಲ್ತ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೀವಿ, ಅದನ್ನ unlearn ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. Okay, that is difficult. But for kids, they are very, very clear. It is easy to teach them. Best way is to show them good cartoons. As I told, I have niece and nephew. My niece is only 5 years old. She sees English cartoons only half an hour a day. And these English cartoons are very informative also in that manner. She learns a lot, and her English is, oh my God, the words she uses. I wonder if I knew those words when I was 5 years old. So seeing, watching cartoons or even reading stories to them, that is where they listen. So they learn very quickly in that case. Cartoons and reading stories. That's more than enough.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am, next question is from Prithni Alex. How to develop speaking skills if we are little introvert to speak because of thought that we may be conveyed in a wrong way?
Okay, in that case, what you can do is you can record. You can, just talk something and you can record and you can hear it yourself. We are our best critic. See, most of the times we stop doing something or we change as a person, not because somebody else told, mainly because we felt it so. So we will not learn something if we don't think it is right or wrong. You can record and listen to it yourself and then compare it. Let's say you pick a dialogue from an English movie. You say the dialogue, record it, listen to it, and then compare with the actual dialogue. You will get the difference in the pronunciation, in the grammar part of it. And there are also many apps for you to learn. All free games available in mobiles. There is vocabulary builder and games like that, Scrabble, where you can pick up new words, work on your English part of it. And most of the introverts will also be good writers. You can start by writing too. You can easily create a blog, just write whatever you want there. Right?
Okay. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Safia.
This is Safia. So, ma'am, the whole world has gone virtual, and how we communicate face to face or to a group of people when we address someone, it was totally different. And now we believe everything is going to be virtual and online. So there is a major difference in the way we communicate and we reach out the message. So how to make our communication effective through online, ma'am?
See, certain things is common irrespective of whether it is online or offline. Okay. For example, in today's presentation, just because it is online, it's not that I didn't get dressed up, right? I still dress up. You can still see me. I still move my hands. My body language is still working. So certain things are common, whether it is online or offline. That though is there. Apart from that, major hindrance here can be the technological barrier that I told you. Unless you know the technology, how do I put it out there? Now, for example, if if I have to teach something in grammar, I would usually, in classes we use board, we use flow charts and stuff like that. But now I have to do it online. So you have to become technically strong. That is the major difficulty, is what I feel. Because in online communication, most of the time, see, if the same thing had happened in class today, trust me, I would have done it with 10 activities. I would make sure students get up from their place, talk to me, and then learn. But in here, that's not the case, right? I am chumma talking 1 hour. So certain things, online makes it easier. But in other sense, it becomes difficult, mainly in terms of technology is what I feel. How if you can put it out there on the screen, well, that's the biggest challenge. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, there is one more question from Divya Shri, that how to face communication with the outside world.
Outside world as in?
Ma'am, like with public.
I'm leaving our relatives or friends.
That was the whole point of today's presentation, right? Business communication. When you're talking in terms of business, it is the outside world. See, we are all good when it comes to our friends and families. In fact, we would end up talking more in that case. But the problem is when we have to talk with the outside world, and that was the whole focus of today's lecture. Only practice. You have to start talking with your teacher. even if as simple as ma'am idu artha agilla matte maadi, ask that in English. I tell my students, even if you want to tell ma'am your lecture is boring, that's fine, but you should tell it to me in English anta. Small sentences, you start with small steps, right? Small things like ma'am, mark my attendance, or can you could you please repeat the same thing, you are going too fast, can I take leave tomorrow? All these small sentences is how you start communicating with the outsiders. And today too, because of Facebook, it's easy to communicate. Social media, it is easy to communicate with outsiders for that matter. You can start with the informal communication. All your social media platform is informal. It's okay if you are grammatically wrong there, nobody will question. You can start from there and then come to more formal conversation. And platforms like this, I mean, today I'm happy that most of the job is done by students. Vote of thanks, welcome speech, I don't know whether you read it or you spoke it, I don't know, but it's a good start to practice outside communication, business communication.
Is anyone else?
Divya, I think you have a question. Divya Shri?
Ma'am, that was my question only.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Divya.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all. Moving forward, the recording of today's session and the session of yesterday is available on our college YouTube channel. I request you all to share the videos with your friends and spread the knowledge. Now we are almost at the end of this session. Thus, I request Christina from second year to thank the gathering.
As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words but to live by them. Honorable guest speaker Prakriti Ma'am, respected Principal Dr. S. Anil Kumar, admirable teachers, ladies and gentlemen. I am Christina D of second year BCom, and it's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this auspicious occasion. I, on behalf of SSMRV College, the entire Department of English, and on my own behalf, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to Prakriti Ma'am for gracing your important work and sharing with us your findings and opinions today. Dear Prakriti Ma'am, it was really interesting to listen to you today and the insights you provided us with regarding communication. We now know the true definition of communication, the components of communication, and how effective communication can be in the present world in general and business in particular. We thoroughly understood the significance of LSRW. It was thrilling to be a part of all the activities that you had planned for us. We were lucky to have heard your words today, ma'am. We are keenly looking forward for more sessions from you. Thank you again.
Thank you, Christina. Very generous. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina.
This two-day webinar wouldn't be possible if it was not for the never-ending support of our Reverend Principal, Dr. S. Anil Kumar, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, an event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels started rolling weeks ago. It requires planning and a bird's eye for precision. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues of SSMRV who know their job and are result-oriented. On that note, I'd like to thank the organizing committee of Department of English, to the head of department, Ms. Saujanya Devan ma'am, event coordinator, ma'am, and faculties of English, Mr. David sir and Ms. Harshita ma'am for organizing this wonderful webinar. The event wouldn't have taken place without the technical support of Mr. Raviraj sir and Mr. Hanuman Reddy sir. Thank you both for arranging the platform for communication. My hearty thanks to MD Satish sir and Mr. Shivakumar sir from the Department of Commerce for their eternal support. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank the HODs and staff groups of various other departments for their constant support. I think my speech would be incomplete without mentioning Mr. Gokul sir. Sir, thank you for your constant help and support, without which this event would not be possible. And lastly, I'd like to thank my fellow participants. It would not be successful if you hadn't spared your precious time to actively participate and joined us for the past 2 days. Thank you one and all.
Special thanks to Sindhu, who has
Thank you,
organized this
Saujanya ma'am.
event. Yes, it was really
Thanks
good.
for all your support.
Yeah.
Mona Lisa?
Yes, ma'am. Reminder for all of you, the link for feedback form is provided in the chat box. Kindly fill in the feedback form and avail your certificates. At last, thank you one and all. Have a great day.
Thank
Have
you.
a nice
Thank you.
time. Bye, Prakriti ma'am.
Bye, ma'am. Take care.
Thank you, Prakriti
Bye,
ma'am.
all
Take
of
care.
you. Take
Bye,
care.
everyone.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye.